My name is Portia Teacher. I'm the youth campus leader with the Boys Scouts of Lethbridge here, and we have Monica Lockett, who has graciously agreed to do an interview with us. I
Hi,
will
my
let her.
name Hi, my name's Monica Lockett, and I'm a former radio news reporter and anchor. So I used to work for a couple of small radio stations up in northern Alberta. I worked the early morning shift, and I was responsible for putting together newscasts and reading them live on air, as well as posting stories on our website and attending and covering community events.
Wonderful. That answers our first question. And why did you originally get into that career?
So I kind of have like almost a family history with the media industry. So my dad actually used to be a broadcast engineer for Global. So growing up, he would sometimes take us to the station, to the Global TV news station, and it was just so interesting to be in that environment and to see the people that work there and what they did because journalism as a job, especially TV reporting, it's so unlike anything else. And I think it really, really piqued an interest for me, especially in writing and media as I kind of got closer towards graduating high school. I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to get into TV or radio or something like that? And so, luckily, I looked at the programs offered here in Lethbridge, and I found one that I thought was perfect for me, which was the Communication Arts program at Lethbridge College, which has now rebranded into the Digital Communications program.
Cool. And what did the day to day look like for that career?
So, when I was working in radio, the first thing I did was start to put together material for my first newscast, which would air at 6 a.m. So, I usually got to the station by 5:30 at the latest. Once you kind of get used to the process, you get more comfortable in kind of doing that. So, I was responsible for a 5-minute newscast at the top of the hour and uh, also at the half hours. So it would be 6, 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9. So I had 3 minutes for news, 1 minute for sports, and a minute and a half for weather. So I kind of pulled stories that were both local and provincial, national, really anything that was kind of dominating the headlines. And then I also pulled some sports stories, and then I put in the weather forecast as well. So most of the time I did those live on air. And then once I finished one newscast, I was kind of busy preparing the second newscast. And typically we write multiple versions of the same story. So I would have 3 versions of, say, a local town council story. So then I'm not just saying the same thing every newscast, I switch it up. And that was pretty much my job for most of the morning. And then once those hourly newscasts were done, I worked on writing more stories as well as posting the stories to the website. And I typically finished work around lunch.
A busy day.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the going to the college. Was there any other training or schooling that you needed or you found useful?
So the thing about journalism is it's a very wide industry and you can get into it with almost any experience you have. So if you're interested in pursuing a science degree, a social science degree, a humanities degree, really anything, if you are interested in journalism, you can still do that with the degree that you have. So I first obtained a diploma, which is a lot more technical. So my diploma was in broadcast journalism, which gave me specifically the skills I needed to work in broadcast media. So we learned how to operate cameras, we learned how to conduct newscasts, how to work with mics, how to work on the radio. And we also did an internship as a requirement for that program. And so that credential was enough to get me hired at a radio station. And so most television radio stations will look for that sort of experience. But if you're interested in more like writing, freelance, working for maybe magazines or newspapers, you don't necessarily need those high technical skills. And also they're learnable. There are programs there that can help you learn. So like I said, there is the program at the college. And there is a Bachelor of Journalism degrees that people can attain. But I think even if you have a degree in, say, English, in history and sociology, even in biochemistry, I think with the right mix of work experience and motivation, you can find yourself in a job in journalism.
So there's a lot of different ways you can specialize as well.
Definitely.
So how does someone get a job in this field?
So it's a mixture of gaining that experience and also making connections. So, especially when I was in school, we worked really closely with other reporters because when we were out in the field, we would see them as well. And so, especially given with internship opportunities, we were able to make connections and kind of find out what organizations we wanted to work with, and I guess kind of promote ourselves to them as well. You get friendly with the other people, and then you can hear about jobs that are coming up or opportunities that are available in other places, and also getting that experience. So of course the internship was a requirement for my program, so getting that experience was really key for me to getting a job. But if you're not in one of those programs, it's kind of going out yourself and networking with others to make those connections. I find journalists are typically friendly people, and they're willing to answer any questions that you have if you reach out to them and ask, because I think this is a really exciting industry. And I believe that the people who are in it are really keen on mentoring the next generation of journalists. And you don't strictly have to get, work experience at, say, the Lethbridge Herald to be hireable. There's a lot of freelance opportunities for publications all across Canada, even across the world. If you have something that you're passionate about that you want to write about, I'm willing to bet that there's a publication that's looking for that article. So I guess it's just more about doing some research on, where you can submit your work, on people that you can meet. I know journalists love using social media sites such as Twitter, especially, to get in touch with other people. So really taking a look at some of the Twitter profiles of journalists that you like and connecting with them is a really easy way to kind of find a mentor in the field.
Sounds like some great advice. Um, Question here. What are some of the challenges that you face in this career?
So I think journalism is a great field, and it's also not without its challenges. So especially small local media is really, really struggling in terms of closures of newspapers and closures of those news positions. So for myself, unfortunately, I was laid off. My position was effectively eliminated. So they no longer needed someone to do the news reporting and anchoring in the community that I was in. And I'm far from the only one who has experienced this sort of thing. But with the decline in, say, more traditional forms of media, I think there's really been a rise in different forms of media, such as online, freelance, remote work, a lot of digital work. So I think the field of journalism is dramatically changing. And I think if people can adapt to that, they can try and overcome some of the challenges that are present in that.
Awesome. So, do you have any advice or tips for youth interested in this career? Things that they should know if they're new to the career?
I'd say if you're interested in journalism as a career, to kind of learn more about it and really explore opportunities in it. So that could be, reaching out to our local media outlets, seeing if there are any volunteer opportunities or any work placements that you could do through them. Again, reaching out to journalists that you might admire, either through like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and kind of getting their perspective on it. And also, if you're interested in obtaining either a technical diploma or a journalism degree, reaching out to administrators and career counselors in those programs as well to kind of learn more about what you do in those programs and kind of see if it's a right fit for you. And especially, I think if you have an interest in a specific type of journalism, seeking out those types of works and the people associated and the organizations associated with them will really help you gain an understanding of what it's like and help you kind of realize whether or not this is something that you are interested in.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all the other questions I had. Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a really neat field, and I still kind of indirectly engage in journalism. So I wrote for my campus newspaper for a few years, and that's also one way to get involved. If you are in high school or going into university or college, a lot of those institutions actually have campus media. So that is a great opportunity to really hone your skills and meet new people, and again, make those connections. So that's something I highly, highly recommend getting involved in if that's something that interests you. And yeah, I think it's really interesting the field of journalism, how it's changing and how it's adapting to the challenges presented by a lot of things that are going on right now. But I think it's a vitally important profession, and I think this renewed interest in free press and democracy has really given me a sense of motivation and happiness for the next generation of journalists that will be coming out. And I think it'll be fantastic.
Awesome. That sounds great. So, yeah. So if you have any questions, they can submit it to our website, and more videos will be posted throughout the week. Make sure to check those out. Thank you, Monica, so much for your time.